Hello and welcome once again everyone. Today's video features the brand new Tier 9 Japanese battleship Hizen which is the premium ship rewarded to those on completion of the new Hizen Dockyard event coming with the Christmas update in 0.9.12, comprised of 26 shipbuilding phases which can be completed by progressing through the Dockyard combat missions, or spending 1950 doubloons for each phase. The combat missions of the Dockyard will span over two updates, from 0.9.12 to 0.10.0, and players will be able to complete shipbuilding phases in exchange for doubloons right up until the end of update 0.10.1. In total, you can pass through 22 of the 26 shipbuilding phases by simply playing the game and completing the Hizen Dockyard combat missions. Completing some of the final stages will reward you with 10,000 coal, a Santa's mega gift container, 2,000 steel, and the Tier 9 Hizen in the Warpaint camouflage with a port slot and a 10-point commander and commemorative flag. Completing other phases will bring you Santa gifts and Santa's big gift containers, New Year permanent camouflage for Tier 9 ships, Winter Strands expandable camouflages, and many other items. And if you happen to complete the construction of the Tier 9 Hizen by spending doubloons, make sure to keep progressing through the Dockyard combat missions, as completing each phase will bring you 400 research points and 200 steel. Finally, in conjunction with this Hizen Dockyard event, the port of Kure will be added to the game, the design of which is inspired by Kure Harbor in Japan. So, enough of the Dockyard info, let's look at the Hizen, starting with the exact build I'm using in this gameplay footage, to give you an idea of how Hizen can perform in a random battle scenario. It's a standard IJN Battleship build with nothing really out of the ordinary. This will serve as a solid placeholder until the new Captain Skill rework goes live in January. This is a full review of the Hizen with my own gameplay, and all the numbers mentioned in this video are based on this exact combination of upgrades and captain skills. The foundation of any good battleship at high tiers starts with its armor. So we can see here from a simple port screenshot, Hizen gets broad 32mm coverage on its complete upper and lower foredeck. Main deck, the upper main belt, and the upper part of the aft end deck all get this 32mm coverage. It's the lower aft end armor belt where we start seeing some nice protection of 229mm and a lower submerged section of 191mm. The main armor belt consists of two sections of 356mm, the upper part extending far above the waterline, while the lower part is submerged. What this amounts to is, while being stern towards or kiting away from the enemy, Hizen does feel quite tanky. Its one weakness is, and I would advise great caution when angling bow on towards any threat, as the citadel under the front turret is vulnerable to any of those shooting accurately through the fore-end armor belt. Main battery gun turrets get decent protection with 460mm of frontal plate armor, slope side plating of 280mm, upper plating of 250mm, and a very strong rear plating of 493mm, even surpassing the frontal plating in terms of armor thickness. My personal opinion of the armor protection was it felt on the whole pretty solid, Angling stern towards the enemy or kiting away is definitely a very strong position, and while pushing forward, one must be acutely aware of the frontal turret weakness, making all attempts to angle accordingly to deny any easy potential citadels to the enemy.
All stations, reporting the position of a strategic target.
Survivability wise, Hizen gets 75,900 hit points, which is further reinforced by having 4 repair party consumables when using Superintendent for extra charges. Important to note here, this is one less than the Izumo, for example, which gets 5. The torpedo protection damage reduction is also not bad at 37%. Again, a quick comparison to the Izumo, which only gets 28%. So we come to the main event with the Hizen, and that is its main battery. Hizen comes armed with 12 410mm guns, capable of truly devastating broadside salvos. These 410mm caliber guns have a reload speed of 33.4 seconds, with a max firing range of 20.3 kilometers and a max dispersion of 214 meters. The spotter plane increases this range temporarily to just over 24 kilometers for the duration of the consumable. These turrets have a 180-degree turning time of 43.1 seconds, and that is using expert marksman, so highly recommended. Hizen's high explosive shells are capable of inflicting a max damage of 6500 per shell. They can penetrate 68mm of armor and have a base 30% chance of setting the target on fire. I never really found myself using high explosive that much, to be honest, as the armor piercing does feel quite reliable and rewarding, and capable of a max damage of 12,750 per shell. That's over 150,000 of potential damage with every salvo. The actual firing angles on these guns are very good, allowing you to maintain a reasonably well angled profile and still bringing all your guns to bear on target, making Hizen quite dangerous to deal with. One final note on the main battery is the shell velocity for both high explosive and armor piercing rounds is the same at 834 meters per second. When it comes to secondary armament, there is room here for experimentation. The base firing range is 7.7 kilometers without any upgrades or captain skills. Hizen comes with 8 dual mounted 127mm turrets with a 4.8 second reload time, firing high explosive shells with a max damage of 2100. An 8% fire chance, but only capable of penetrating 21 meters of armor. There are additional secondary guns, including 3 triple mounted 155mm turrets with the same 7.7 kilometer firing range and 11.4 second reload time, also firing high explosive shells with a max damage of 2600. 10% fire chance, and these 155mm rounds are capable of penetrating 26mm of armor. The low number of secondary guns in total and low penetration holds it back from being a real secondary terror. Maybe with the coming captain skill rework, it might add some viability to a secondary build. The enemy aircraft carrier in this game will give a good indication of the AA capabilities of the Hizen. It gets an AA rating of 64 and gets 120 AA guns in total. This may be impressive at first glance, but 102 of these are very short range 25mm AA guns. The resulting numbers are equally disappointing. All combined, these 120 AA guns pump out a continuous average damage of just 200, the vast majority of which is short range. They fire 5 flak explosions per salvo with a max damage 1617 and a max firing range of 5.8 kilometers. What this boils down to is if you get any way isolated from any kind of AA support, even a tier 8 carrier is capable of making your game an absolute nightmare. I did get pretty much focused by the enemy Parseval, and you'll see in the endgame stats just how much damage the CV is able to inflict on me over the course of the game. Hizen is a large ship, and like most heavyweights, she does not exactly feel light on her feet, and this is reflected in her maneuverability. Hizen gets a base speed of 28.2 knots, increased to 29.6 knots with the Sierra Mike signal flag, a turning circle radius of 880 meters, and a sluggish rudder shift time of 13.7 seconds. And this does include the steering gears mod in slot 4, as without it, it does feel a bit brutal. Hizen is a large gun platform, so turning on a dime is not exactly built into the package. Turning to avoid torpedoes is not so bad, but trying to avoid carrier drops is nigh on impossible. Finally, stats wise, we come to the Hizen's concealment rating of 41, which is with a full stealth build, including both upgrade and captain skill, which equates to a sea base detection range of 13.7 kilometers and by aircraft at 10.5 kilometers. This includes the Warpaint permacamouflage, which reduces the after-battle costs by 20% and increases the XP earned per battle by 100%. Wargaming's art department have come up with many spectacular camos in recent times, but this one, just in my personal opinion, leaves a little to be desired. Maybe it's just the combination of colours. All in all though, I've found the Hizen throughout testing to be very reliable. I like the dispersion and the large number of guns. I always had the impression I could land large number of hits reliably on target over the course of a game to still have a positive impact. And in this game in particular, it turned out quite good in the end. Being a tier 9 premium, Hizen earns quite a bit of credits and XP when you get good games, and being the very first battleship to be the reward ship for the Dockyard event, I do feel it earns its place in the game nicely. I'm quite sure Battleship mains will be chomping at the bit to get their hands on this hard-hitting IJN Battleship. I wish you all happy grinding over the next couple of updates, as it's definitely worth completing the directives to pick up the Hizen for a very cheap price. So as this game plays out until the end, I hope I was able to provide you some useful information about the Hizen to help you decide if the upcoming Dockyard event is something you are interested in and worth the time grinding over the holidays. Fortunately, unlike last year, it's available over multiple updates, making it much more reasonable. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or come on over to Twitch for some live gameplay. You can see the link here on screen. This is the Dockyard event ship, so no giveaway this time unfortunately, but I have plenty of those over on Twitch on a regular basis. So I let this game play out until the end in what was a very nice exhibition of what the Hizen is capable of, even in the hands of not a great battleship player. 3k base XP and over 1.5 million credits is not a bad little haul. I'd like to thank you once again all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more. Take a moment to check out some of my most recent videos and leave a comment below. And until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.